When you first dip your toe into the wonderful world of woodworking, you find yourself drowning in advice. It comes at you from every corner of the internet. YouTube experts with their perfectly organized workshops will present you with lists. These are the top 10 must-have tools for beginners. They speak with such authority, and honestly, it is hard not to listen. They hold up a gleaming new tool and tell you that your journey cannot truly begin without it. You believe them because you're new and eager. You want to do things the right way. So you start making a list of your own, a shopping list that grows longer and more expensive with every video you watch. There is a powerful myth that circulates among new woodworkers. It is the idea that the quality of your work is directly tied to the number of fancy tools you own. If you just had that expensive cabinet saw, your cuts would be perfect. If you bought that high-end joiner, every board would be flawlessly flat. This belief is a trap, a very costly one. It makes you think you can buy your way to skill. You imagine that unboxing a new tool will magically grant you the experience needed to use it well. But skill is not something that comes in a cardboard box. It is earned through sweat, patience, and a whole lot of sawdust. I fell for this myth hook, line, and sinker. I listened to the chorus of voices telling me what I needed. Before I had even completed my first real project, I was convinced my workshop was inadequate. I felt a sense of pressure to equip myself for any possible project I might one day attempt. This led me down a path of acquisition. I was collecting tools, not skills. My focus shifted from the simple joy of shaping wood to the stressful task of outfitting a professional-grade shop. It was a distraction, and it kept me from the most important work, actually making things and learning from my mistakes. The truth is, these must-have lists are often just a reflection of what works for one specific person. That person may have a different style of working than you. They might build different kinds of projects. They might have a much larger budget and a lot more space. Following their advice blindly is like buying a full set of chef's knives when all you want to do is learn how to bake a loaf of bread. You end up with a lot of expensive, specialized equipment that does not serve your immediate needs. It is far wiser to start with the basics and let your own journey tell you what you need next. I can point to a few specific purchases that taught me this lesson the hard way. The first was a biscuit joiner. I had seen it used in countless videos to create strong, invisible joints. It looked so professional, so slick. The experts on the screen made it seem essential for building cabinets and furniture. I was convinced that without one, my projects would be weak and amateurish. So, I went out and bought a nice one. I brought it home, full of excitement. I imagined all the beautiful casework I would now be able to build. The tool felt solid and powerful in my hands. I was ready to become a master joiner overnight. The reality was quite different. I used that biscuit joiner exactly twice. The first time was on a small bookshelf that, in hindsight, could have been assembled just as well with simple screws and glue. The second time was for a test joint on a piece of scrap wood. After that, it went back into its case and sat on a shelf. It has been collecting a fine layer of sawdust ever since. I found that for the projects I was actually building, other joinery methods were simpler, faster, or just more enjoyable for me. That expensive tool did not make me a better woodworker. It just made my wallet lighter. Another one of my foolish early acquisitions was a benchtop mortiser. This is a heavy, single-purpose machine designed to cut square holes for mortise and tenon joints. It is a classic and incredibly strong joint, the kind you see in fine furniture that lasts for centuries. I was seduced by the history and the promise of creating heirloom-quality pieces. I saved up and bought a hefty machine that took 2 people to move into my workshop. I spent an entire afternoon setting it up, calibrating it, and making sure it was perfect. I felt like a true artisan, ready to tackle the most challenging joinery. That mortiser has probably cut fewer than 10 mortises in its entire life with me. I quickly learned that setting up the machine for just 1 or 2 joints was a huge hassle. It was loud, messy, and required a lot of fiddly adjustments. I discovered that I could cut a perfectly good mortise by hand with a sharp chisel and a bit of practice. Not only was it quieter and more satisfying, but it also taught me more about how wood behaves. The big fancy machine was designed for production work, for someone cutting dozens of identical joints. That was not me. I was a beginner trying to build one table at a time. The problem with buying tools before you need them is that it puts the cart before the horse. You spend more time learning the tool than you do learning the craft. Each new machine comes with a manual, a setup process, and a learning curve. You can lose days, or even weeks, just getting a complex tool dialed in. This is time you could be spending with a handsaw, a chisel, or a simple block plane. It is time you could be using to understand the grain of the wood, how it cuts, and how it moves. The setup and the hype become a distraction from the fundamental skills that truly make a good woodworker. Your projects should be the ones to tell you what tools you need. This is the most honest way to build a workshop. Start with a simple project, like a small box or a cutting board. Try to build it with a minimal set of tools: a handsaw, a drill, a square, and some clamps. As you work, you will discover challenges. Maybe your cuts are not straight enough. Maybe you wish you could smooth a surface faster. These challenges are not failures. They are signposts. They are pointing you toward your next tool. The need becomes real and specific, not just something you saw on a list. For example, if you find yourself constantly struggling to cut straight lines with a handsaw, maybe it is time to consider a circular saw with a guide. If you are building a lot of projects with pocket holes and are tired of clamping a small jig, perhaps upgrading to a more permanent pocket hole station makes sense. The key is to wait for the frustration. Wait until you say, "There has to be a better way to do this." When that moment arrives, you will know exactly what problem you are trying to solve. The tool you buy will have an immediate and clear purpose in your workshop. This approach saves you money, but more importantly, it keeps you focused on the work itself. You will build a collection of tools that is perfectly tailored to the things you love to make. Your workshop will not be filled with dusty monuments to impulse buys. Instead, every tool on your wall will have a story. It will represent a problem you solved, a skill you learned, and a project you completed. This makes your workspace a personal and functional haven, not a showroom of unused potential. It is a much more satisfying way to grow as a craftsperson. So, what is my practical advice for someone standing at the beginning of this rewarding path? Start small. I mean really small. Get yourself a decent handsaw, a combination square, a drill, a few sturdy clamps, and a sharp chisel. You can build an incredible number of useful and beautiful things with just these items. Do not even think about the big power tools yet. Learn how to mark a straight line and cut to it. Learn how to join two pieces of wood together securely with glue and screws. Master the simple satisfaction of shaping wood with your own hands. Let your curiosity and your projects be your only shopping list. When you decide you want to build a small table, you might discover that you need a way to make the boards flat. This is when you can start researching hand planes or maybe even a benchtop planer. The need will be real and urgent, and the tool will feel like a solution, not just another purchase. By waiting, you ensure that every dollar you spend is an investment in your actual process, not in a fantasy of what you might build one day. This patient approach builds both your workshop and your skills in tandem. Remember that the person holding the tool is always more important than the tool itself. A master craftsperson can produce beautiful work with a modest set of tools, while a beginner can make a mess with the most expensive equipment in the world. The goal is not to collect tools. The goal is to learn how to use them. Spend your time practicing, making mistakes, and learning from them. Watch videos to learn techniques, not to build a wish list. The joy of woodworking comes from the process of turning a rough piece of lumber into something useful and beautiful. Ultimately, the craft is in your hands and in your heart, not on the shelf. Do not let the pressure to have the perfect workshop rob you of the simple pleasure of making things. Embrace the journey of learning with a few good tools. Let them become extensions of your hands. Over time, you will build a collection of tools that you know intimately and use often. That is the true mark of a well-equipped woodworker. The tools do not make the craftsperson, the steady and patient use of them does. Now go make some sawdust.